Hello everyone, my name is Fu Hu, and the composer I choose for my final project is Luigi Dallapiccola. Growing up in Istria, which was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Dallapiccola has an unstable childhood and moves frequently. His father was headmaster of an Italian language school, which was shut down due to World War I. Dallapiccola took his piano degree at the Florence Conservatory in the 1920s and became professor there in 1931. Until his 1967 retirement, he spent his career there teaching lessons in piano as a secondary instrument. He also studied composition with Vito Frasi, an Italian neo-romantic composer at the Conservatorio Luigi Cherubini. Dallapicola's early experience under the fascist regime of Benito Mussolini, who governed Italy from October 1922 to July 1947, had a tremendous impact on his music and his life. Before 1930s, he believed in the propaganda and supported Mussolini. However, his political views on the fascist regime changed during 1930s. He began to protest to the Abyssinian campaign and Italians' involvement in the Spanish Civil War. Also, Mussolini's sympathy with Adolf Hitler's view on race, which threatened Dallapicola's Jewish wife, Laura Luzzatto, was another reason for him to stand against the fascist regime. After World War II, he made frequent travels to the United States, including spending several semesters teaching courses in composition at Queens College, New York, beginning in 1956. He was a sought-after lecturer throughout Western Europe and the Americas. Before explaining why Dallapiccola's music is a reflection of social and political circumstances in Europe in the 20th century, we first need to understand 12-tone serialism, a method of musical composition technique Dallapiccola uses in many of his works. 12-tone serialism, also known as 12-note composition, is a method of musical composition devised by Austrian composer Arnold Schoenberg and associated with the Second Viennese School composers. The technique is a means of ensuring that all 12 notes of the chromatic scale are sounded as often as one another in a piece of music while preventing the emphasis of any one note through the use of tone rows, orderings of the 12 pitch classes. All 12 notes are thus given more or less equal importance, and the music avoids being a key. Schoenberg's idea in developing the technique was for it to replace those structural differentiations provided formerly by tonal harmonies. As such, 12-tone music is usually atonal, and treats each of the 12 semitones of the chromatic scales with equal importance as opposed to earlier classical music, which had treated some notes as more important than others, particularly the tonic and the dominant note. German composer Stockhausen describes serialism in the following way. So serial thinking is something that's come into our consciousness and will be there forever. It's relativity and nothing else. It just says, use all the components of any given number of elements. Don't leave out individual elements. Use them all with equal importance and try to find an equidistant scale so that certain steps are no larger than others. It's a spiritual and democratic attitude toward the world. We can see it in his works that Dallapiccola uses serialism technique as a way to express his opinion on political issues. First of all, serialism is an example of Dallapiccola's search for order and balance. Order and balance is the top priority for people in Germany and Hungary in the 20th century. There is no doubt people's desire for order and balance has a strong impact on the appearance and the popularity of serialism. Also, the key serialism, which is treating each of the 12 semitones with equal importance to create a unified theme, which is a reflection of Dallapicola's disbelief in racism. His disapproval of racism against Jewish shows that he thinks each person should be treated equally, just as each semitone should have equal importance. There is no doubt the appearance and popularity of serialism in the 20th century is a reflection of the political circumstances in Europe. Dallapicola's works widely used serialism, developed and embraced by his idols. He was the first Italian to write in the method, and the primary advocate of serialism in Italy. He developed serialist techniques to create a more lyrical tonal style. Throughout the 1930s, his style changed from a diatonic style with bursts of chromaticism to a consciously serialist outlook. His disappointment with Mussolini's regime had a huge effect in his change of style. After the Abyssinian campaign, for the most part, his style of writing transformed from light and carefree to dark and pessimistic. Perhaps the best example of Dallapicola's music reflecting his political view and the European society in the 20th century is his triptych, Canti di Prigionia, which translates to Songs of Prison. Dallapiccola uses an original version of 12-tone technique in Canti di Prigionia. It was a protest against fascist doctrine and was based in part on the chant Day of Wrath from the Mass for the Dead. The politically charged Canti di Prigionia, for chorus with an orchestra of percussion, harps, and pianos, was the beginning of a loose triptych on the highly personal themes of imprisonment and injustice. In the canti, the voices are the sustained notes that powerfully symbolized humanity clinging to life amid menacing destructive forces. The work coordinates modal elements with two 12-note series. The trilogy was completed by another one-act opera, Second Prigioniero, and another one called Cantata Canti di Liberazione. Of all, Second Prigioniero is Dallapicola's best-known work. It tells the chilling story of a political prisoner whose jailer, in an apparent gesture of paternity, allows him to escape from his cell. At the moment of his freedom, he finds he has been the victim of a cruel practical joke, as he runs straight into the arms of the Grand Inquisitor, who seemingly leads him off to the stake at which he is to be burned alive. The series often contained diatonic, even pentatonic segments, which are prominently featured to symbolize the liberty for which the prisoner yearns, spurred on by the golden promises. The opera's pessimistic outlook reflects Dallapiccola's complete disillusionment with fascism, and the music contained therein is both beautifully realized and supremely disquieting. In this slide, there's a video of the second Prigioniero. Looking at it, you can certainly feel Dallapiccola's political opinion on the society controlled by fascist regime in the 20th century.